Drama. There was enough drama. It was the first round of that team competition in Paris. Team qualifier. We said yesterday, maybe the top 10 will go through. Probably there's one casualty. Maybe there's two. There was one huge headline. The headline is that Switzerland are out. They were right up there. We had this as three favorites out in front: Ireland, Sweden, and Switzerland. And Switzerland are no more. We will have to talk about Brazil as well. It started with Dynamics. I didn't see it. Charlotte, talk me through your love affair with Steve Gerda. We had two champions back to back, the world champion King Edward and Henrik. They delivered, but Steve and Dynamics, what happened?
I don't know. Dynamics seemed really sticky. She seemed a bit spooky. Steve really, really had to ride her. I know it's a very impressive, big open arena and things like that, but she's seen that before, and she didn't look like she was there with him, which is really unfortunate. And it starts with 8 penalties for them, with their it is their strongest. It's their highest rated horse in their team, and that immediately puts the rest of them in danger. And then we see Pia Schwitzer and Vancouver the Lawnmower have 3 down, and we kind of lost hope. But there was a sprinkling of hope still, if Martin Fuchs produced a clear, that they would still be able to go through to the team final, and he didn't. And it's just absolutely heartbreaking. They were on both of our podiums, Sam, when we did our predictions, and now they are out. They're not even in the team final. It's heartbreaking. It's massive. I can't believe it.
Big for Ireland, big for the Swedes.
Yeah, but the Irish, it wasn't a walk in the park for them either.
No, but in terms of just getting through and a big rival going out, I think it's notable. But you're right. Let's move straight to them. I mean, you could almost start at the end first. Keane's round was clear, but looked. It didn't flow. It certainly didn't flow. I think there was. Sorry, when I say clear, I mean they progressed. They weren't clear. They progressed, and it didn't matter. But they had one down. It's the first jumping fault for Morris this year. But he had to work. Keane had to work to keep it at that.
Yeah, it was hard work. Also, a disappointed one down, I think, from James Can-Cruz. I think the star of the show today definitely was Daniel Coyle and Legacy. Pulling it out of the park again. That looked really, really easy for them. They seemed comfortable and really bodes well, I think, for tomorrow and also for the individual.
I mean, if you're going through it, Sam, one thing that you talked about on the preview show, I'm just focusing on the top 3 teams for a moment, the top 3 favorites for winning the overall. Firstly, Swiss are gone for anyone just joining us now. So huge that they're not going to be jumping tomorrow. Of the 2 teams that are left in terms of the big qualifiers, and someone surely has joined that, I think the Germans, after the display today are likely to be pushing themselves into that conversation. But of the other 2 teams that would have gone in as the overall favourites, we touched on the Irish. Sam, James Can-Cruz, you mentioned that settling James Can-Cruz early would be important. It was an early rail. I think it's somewhere around fence 4. It's that double, that confectionery double I heard it being described as, that they had. It did settle a little bit from there, but it's going to be important again tomorrow in terms of I don't know that you're going to have that much leeway, let's say, if James Can-Cruz does need to settle again.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm probably more optimistic. On the stats, I'm worried enough about he visually. You think this horse is going to progress and be better in round 2 than he is in round 1. Statistically, he doesn't really back that up. He's actually better in round 1 than he is in round 2 throughout his career. So I'm still concerned. I'm concerned, Morris was hard work. He's looked hard work before, and Keane gets away with it. But in the combination when he's really backing up, there's a bit of the tension and the atmosphere makes him a little rigid, and you don't want to be that when you're. I think we're probably going to see it another hole up for sure tomorrow. Today we're still testing enough, and obviously it's the arena. It's the type of the jumps, it's the placement of the jumps, it's the backdrop, it's the height of the grandstand. There's a lot of things that kind of create that atmosphere, and it clearly got to a few horses today. Where are you going to be confident? Sweden would be easy to. A lot of people will look at this qualifier round and say Sweden 8th. What? The reigning champs. Surely, actually, I think they look one of the best teams in the competition. That was Petter when he was. So Catch Me Not looked at the wall. And they stopped. Obviously, he'll have to jump that again tomorrow, but he jumped it second time. So I think that's done and dusted now. He was then playing catch up and had a rail in the combination. The rest of it was all time. 9 of those were time penalties. They had 2 clears. They had a clear from Zakaria.
Do you think Catch Me Not will jump again tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably schooling done. You get I think like even France, they were on the way out. They were our early Simon Deleste 2 down.
Yeah, there was a time when it looked like they were under the most pressure.
Yeah, like we on simulations, we thought 12 would be the cutoff on a normal course. It turned out to be a bit harder, clear rate down closer to 25% than it was predicted to be up around 35%. And the cutoff ended up being 20 penalties. So Israel and Mexico, the 2 countries that have replaced Brazil and obviously Switzerland on our projections. We knew that would there's going to be casualties. You don't ever think it. When it comes from the big 3, in terms of ratings, I just think it's huge that Swiss are out. I mean, Steve Gerda and Martin Fuchs and Pia Schwitzer. Yeah, I mean, I think I've probably already lost money if I'm being honest. I'm pretty sure I had a few quid on them to win gold.
Well, we talked about the Germans because they were perfect, solid looking. I don't know about you guys, but Richard Vogel and United Touch looked like they were jumping a 120 schooling round yet again at one of the biggest stages in the world. They looked so comfortable. It looked so easy. Like the Germans. I'm so excited about seeing them. I was excited about them before they jumped, but now, oh my goodness, exhibition.
Such different rounds though as well. Like as you go through them, like all of them jumped well. But what's exciting, probably thinking about early next week as much as thinking about tomorrow, is that United Touch still continues to show you how he can jump clear in different ways. Like he gets to the last Charlotte and he really got deep and really had to work, and still every time you watch him you feel like going back to the Issen Richard Vogel unbelievable as a rider of this horse conversation. I know we do that on almost every preview, almost every review that we do, but certainly I think they will move into the reckoning. Sam, I think there might be updated prediction center odds coming through. Yeah, I'm seeing them here. Interesting. Still the Irish and the Swedes out in front, as you'd expect. And then, as we were talking about, Germans and now the US kind of joining that party again. Germans, the big mover from today.
Can we talk about some of the reserve combinations that have had to come in, because they absolutely nailed it? I'm thinking Carl Cook, Kim Emmen, Olivier Perrault. They had so much pressure on them coming in last minute as a reserve combination, literally pulled everything out of the bag for their nations to step in. And I think that was incredible to watch. Big moment for Kim Emmen, especially Carl Cook as well. That was a very late substitution. I don't know when he learned about it, but we did only a couple of hours before the competition started. So, definitely some big pressure on him. And that looked perfect. Like they were so solid. There didn't look an ounce of stress on either of them. And that is so exciting for them as well. It's great that these nations can pull out their reserve and still deliver so strongly. Really impressed by the Dutch, actually. I know that we/myself haven't been that excited about them, but now I'm back on your train, D. I don't know if you're still driving it, but I'm with you now.
Well, Charlotte, what's your reaction to so the way the win chances will have changed because Switzerland are out. So Ireland are now up to 20%, Sweden up to 19%. But what the prediction center doesn't take into account is the visuals of how people jump today. It just says if you're through, you're through, and it doesn't go. When it's looking at form, it's looking over months. It's not looking over minutes, which is what we're all reacting to now. So the Prediction Center gives you this objective view that, particularly within the last couple of hours, form is temporary, class is permanent. It still says Ireland and Sweden. It has Germany in third on 14%, USA 11%, Belgium 11%, Netherlands 10%. It can't really pick between those. And a bit of a drop still to GBR on 6%, France on 5%, Canada 3%, Mexico 2%. Now, France and Great Britain feel like they're being, the Brits in particular, I would say the two teams that for me are probably being underrated on just going on objective numbers would be Germany and possibly Great Britain. Thoughts?
I'm with you, definitely 100% with Germany.
Still can't convert you to the Great Britain.
I don't know. No, they were incredible. They were amazing. They did exactly what they needed to do. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. I think Ben Mayer was impeccable. What a round, looked so easy. Also, a later substitution horse-wise. He was due to bring Point Break, but then decided on Dallas Vegas Battalion. It was the perfect decision, I think, because he was lovely. But I don't know. I'm more excited. I'm definitely more excited about the Germans than the Brits still, even though I honestly applaud the Brits for what they did today.
Can we talk about how, like, when you watch other sports, you see a lot of, I'm thinking like Ireland were favourites to the Rugby World Cup. It's a very physical sport. It's very tough. It's very intense. There's a lot of pressure. Traditionally, watching show jumping, there's a lot of finesse. There's calmness. A lot of the times you had those moments, but with the drop scores, you're like, oh, it's okay. They become the drop score. It was big moment, but it was like, they're the drop score. For me, it's to every time I watch jumping with these League of Nations as well, with the teams of three, watching Fuchs today. Martin Fuchs came back, Switzerland, the journey we went on of like, firstly it was France threatened, then it was definitely Switzerland that were in big trouble. And suddenly they could come back and the door was open and Fuchs was fighting. And that's the biggest scream that I let out. And I can tell you folks, it was a scream. It's quite high pitched. I was quite worried about myself, to be honest. But I was so into it. And I was like, this sport is pulling me in my heart rate's getting up. Like, it's intense. You're getting off the couch. You see people work, how hard they're working to get these horses over big fences. Like, and why I bring that in, not just with today, but we're going to see it all again tomorrow. It was 8 faults that the gold medal teams, Sweden and USA, jumped off on 8 faults in Tokyo. I think it's unlikely we see a team on 0. We've only got one team on 0 today, and that was Germany. They were perfect. It's probably 4 fault, but that means scrapping. That means people, I've had a rail down, but I got to keep fighting. I've got to keep pushing. Sometimes in Nations Cups, you see the final line riders not even jumping or having a rail and going, I can't improve the score, so I'll retire. It's just so much more intense. I think it's really tough on these riders. And that's kind of not a bad thing. Comfort zone.
Yeah. It's a lot of it is a mental game as well, I think, and it does make it more exciting. And let's not talk about my high pitched screams, because I'm really sorry for all of your ears, because we watched it on a call all together, because it is like so many things happen, and even visually, and fences down, like the Swiss fence down was absolutely mind-blowing. And even there, where at the end, where we're waiting to see who qualifies, is it going to be Canada? Is it going to be Mexico? Like, there's such big moments. It's exciting.
It's exciting. You touched on this already. Kim Amen for Netherlands, not just coming in, but B, I think, the age, the debut, the Olympic debut. I threw 2 other names in there as well last night in that first Olympic Games and first championship call up for Richie Vogel. People might think he's surpassed that and beyond that. Gilles Thomas was the other one for Belgium. I think visually, those three led their teams today. And
Absolutely.
I'm throwing,
completely with you on that. They're all in their all three of those riders are in their 20s. They're at their championship debut, and they completely blew it out of the park. And especially thinking of, Gilles and Richard, they knew they were on the team. They prepared weeks in advance. They've been able to get into the mental space to perform at the highest level. Kim didn't. Last night, suddenly it's just like, right, let's go. You need to deliver now. And she just went, right, okay, put on her jacket, got on her horse, and was perfect, jumped clear, lovely, beautiful. Like, what a performance. I think that's really what the sport is about, and really shows what athletes these three young talents are. Like, it's absolutely incredible.
We throw a fourth in there, G. Okay, no, you go.
I just have one other thing on the Kim and Men thing, and I think that it is also being a young female rider in a very male team, very male setup. There are, of course, other big female talents coming out of the Netherlands, like Sanne de Jongs, obviously, delivered some big 160 moments. But I think there's no doubt that the leaders of that team are Michael van der Vleuten and Harry Smulders. And it looked very much like Willem Greve was taking that position until the end, until obviously late last night. I think being a young female rider coming through there feels a little bit different to me than maybe in somewhere like Germany, where you have a group of them coming through. And actually, It feels like there's a bigger. I don't know, but I'm thinking out loud.
It'd be the same in Ireland. It would be like a young female.
It would be very similar. Someone like Jessica Burke coming through in Ireland, where you can see actually that type, very similar profiles. I would say, Sam, in that they were both jumping in Gothenburg, similar levels, both very classy riders. You look at, say, what's happening in Germany with Jana Vogers, Jana Friederike Zimmermann-Meyer, Kendra.
I love the way you mix her names around, and I also love that you bought an event rider in Sanne de Jong into show jumping, and when
not
you
Sanne de Jong. Who am I thinking of? Sanne Tyson. Sorry.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Easy. I do that all the time.
But where I'm going is, I think in some other setups, it would be harder than it was for Kim and Men today, and I do agree with you like that they led. I think the age profile of some of the other riders that you're talking about makes it equally fascinating, male or female. But I just think there is something really special about what Kim and Men did today, and you'd hope they can back it up tomorrow.
Another young rider that really was impressive today is Carlos Hank Guerrero from Mexico.
Yeah.
Super round, is he 22 or 23 years old? Like, he's under 25 still. And a country that wasn't at all, if you're riding for Belgium or, the Dutch even, you're kind of not guaranteed a spot in the final, but you're in that top 10. Mexico was outside of that top 10. They were definitely underdogs for getting into the final. And then being, I think it's 23 years old, and being on that team and helping, really pushing that team, being the best member of the team to help Mexico go through to the team final is an incredible feeling, I think. And oh God, like it's unbelievable. Like, I'm so excited for all these young riders coming up. Like, we're going to have decades to go with these riders. Like, if you're looking at Piers Schwitzer is 61 years old. Like, if we're looking at Gilles Thomas, Carlos Hank, then we've got 40 more years to go with them. 40 more years.
Settle down. 40. Someone who I would say has been dreaming about this for decades and has been on a mission to make this happen. Felt a little bit like Kim, but he's had a longer wait. That it wasn't going to happen, that he wasn't going to get his chance, it wasn't going to be his time, and then it was the drama. It was the big news this morning. Carl Cook came in and delivered with Caracol. Laura Kraut looked on song with Ballatinu, the horse that's always been up there on ratings. The United States have come through in second place in this qualifier, just before the one rail from Ilex and McLean Ward, the two-time. I think they look very strong. and very dangerous. The 3 top teams through from today were Germany, United States, and Great Britain. Group GB obviously tied with Belgium and Netherlands, and just faster times. But Sweden and Ireland weren't in the top 5. We're relying on the pre-competition narrative to that. I think the US, and particularly Carl Cook, will be feeling good. I think there's a bit of suspension in the step. I think those boots are feeling light as they walk around the place. I think they're feeling good.
And they looked very good as well. I think Laura really took she was straight out there, really, really solid. And I think that takes a lot of the pressure off Carl as well. Not that I think that he didn't have any pressure on him, because I think he absolutely did. But it does help to see Laura do well. She's kind of cracked the code for how to produce a clear and, follow that through.
It's the pressure thing. I got to come back to it again. It's like when Cian O'Connor went into the ring and Ireland had a clear on 4, and the likes of France and Switzerland, and I think even the Sweden thing had happened with Petter. So like you're having Ireland are just, I think he could have had 4 down and probably still qualified. He certainly could have had 3 down and still guaranteed the qualification. I still felt a bit nervous. I was like, you're going in there and you got to get this horse round, and you got to avoid disaster. And we know it can happen. Of course, it's probably better than Fuchs having to go in there and he has to jump clear. But in a way, the only thing I would say psychologically is, as much as he wants to move heaven and earth to get the clear round and to get Swiss through and to be jumping for an Olympic medal, as much as he wants to do that, he still knows his 1 down was the best of the trio. And he did everything he could. And it's a different type of pressure. This is what I think is so dynamic, is pressure is coming in like, I have a tiny chance. I've got to pull out the best I can to try and get it. Others is like, we're in a good spot. But the thing is no one is safe. So everyone is genuinely under pressure, and Olympic Games pressure at that. And actually, it's the cost. It's while the likelihood of things going wrong diminishes for those final riders coming in, the emotion that would be attached to if it didn't go well, they would definitely be the ones that lost it. So it was a right cauldron, and I didn't think it. We came on, everyone. We were saying last night before we went live, going, okay, let's just get the temperature right. Let's not say that tomorrow was the be all and end all, because it's not. There'll probably be some drama. But let's not overplay it. And in fairness to you, Charlotte, you said, guys, I think you're underplaying this too much. This is an Olympic Games. This stuff's gonna happen.
Something always happens, and it did. I mean, the Swiss is massive. The Brazilians as well. That's just heartbreaking. I'm not sure what happened there, but Pedro Venice and Nimrod Demuse jumped a clear round for Brazil, and then post competition were eliminated, and that completely writes their team off, which is, it's heartbreaking, but things like that do happen, and it happens at every major championship. And it doesn't matter what form they were in coming in, stuff just happens. Like even if we're looking at Peter Frederiksen, who is one of the most experienced riders with one of the most experienced horses in the field, 18 years old, and he takes a look at a wall and has a run out. And of course, it didn't matter for their team because he had a lot of penalties to play with. But if that were to happen to, say, a Martin Fuchs in a position where he has to produce a clear, then that's over. Like, it can always happen. Things happen. And it happened to Sweden, but they were lucky enough to have enough penalties freed up for them that they could still make that mistake and still qualify.
I think you're right about, there's been drama in the dressage. There's been, there was different types of drama in eventing as well with calls and play. It is kind of part and parcel with the sports. I think you have to embrace that a little bit as well. Knowing that these things can come through. It's big calls for the stewards to do it, to have to make those eliminations and things like that. So that was definitely heartbreak for Brazil, because they were on like an 83. They were high 80, well over the 80% mark in terms of likelihood to qualify after 2 riders. And then Pessoa doesn't even jump. So Rodrigo here for his 8th Olympics. He won't be jumping tomorrow. Of the hard luck stories, On the visually, it's going to look like Spain. They were on the bubble. They were 11th. They were just one time penalty behind Mexico, and they didn't get it. We've talked about the Swiss. The Austrians were up against it after their first round. There was a rail from Max Kuhner in there as well. For me, actually, Canada final rider going in. It was there. I think when it's in your control, when you can have a clear or even one down and be on the pace, they had a faster team score, faster team time combined than Mexico after 2 riders. So there was every chance that Amy Miller could have qualified Canada, but it wasn't their day, and that happens in horse sports all the time. But I think that's the one that I felt that I was like, that poor girl. That's a tough moment. You feel like the person letting your country down. Of course you weren't. Of course it's a team competition, but I think that would have been hard felt.
Yeah,
because of the good record as well.
Yeah, good record. Exactly. You're put in that spot for a reason.
It's a long time since they had more than one down. I think like their 160 record is their last 8 rounds. If you look in the form guide, there's a lot of clears in there. There's a lot of clears.
I wonder if you carry that pressure, if you're being told when you go in, look, you need to come in with you need to come in with either clear or 4 penalties, and it needs to be within this time. I wonder if that pressure gets to a rider too much, and you start overthinking things, and you start rushing because you need to be within a certain time to be able to qualify. And I wonder if that played a role. And I think it might have. I don't see how it would affect a rider going in. You're last to go, and your qualification depends on you.
I hear you. I think all the time they're thinking. I know normally the fast 4 is, if you have a rail speed up, is normally just to get some ranking points and some prize money, and it is individual. Like I hear you. I think the team. I think when other people are relying on you, it definitely escalates, and it's not something that everyone's always used to. It's why I would actually love to see, potentially not even just. Obviously, you want to see more commitment to the Nations Cups and the team competition formats, because for us as viewers, it is just the best format of the sport. And I think also we're always, as you know, whatever country we're from, whether we're Canadian, Mexican, Irish, Belgian, wherever we're from, I think we always feel more of a connection to the team, just than any one individual within the team. But I have to say, I know from a riding point of view, you don't want the 3 from 3 format. You don't want to be pushed that far out of your comfort zone, because stuff happens in horse sports. But God, for the viewers, it does work. It really does work. Fuchs will have felt that he was perfect. The 2 perfect records are broken. Sorry, Charlotte. That's where I was going to go to next. Take it wherever you want to, but that's the one I'm floating out there. Is that we had 2 big horses in the sport on perfect records coming into this competition. They've both gone.
They've both gone. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. But, it's still a very, very good run. Leonie, 8 from 8. Now 8 from 9, unfortunately. And Electric Blue was coming in on 9 from 9 and now is going out on 9 from 10, which is still absolutely incredible. A 90% clear rate at 5-star 120, 5-star 160 in 2024 it's incredible. It's massive, but it's not a perfect record anymore. And we're not going to see Big Star's consecutive run streak of 12 clears at 5-star 160 be broken anytime soon, I think. So it might be soon, but it's not going to be this weekend. But guys, I want to talk about tomorrow. How are we feeling about tomorrow? I want to hear updated podiums from everyone, because I know Sam and myself, we had picked Switzerland. That's out of the question. How do we feel about tomorrow? Sam, what's your updated podium?
I still like Sweden, and Sweden grew on me the more I analyzed the team. And I still think that even with because it's a catch me not moment, it's not a
sorry, just to pick you up on that, you still like Sweden?
Because I didn't have them. No. I liked Sweden once I started doing more analysis after our preview pod. I was leaning back.
That's perfect. I didn't
put them back on. No. I said to everyone, if we wanted to try and sound smart, we would be saying that Sweden don't win a medal, because that's what the prediction center was saying, is it's more likely than not that they do not win a team medal. And it is probably still that they're 48%. Oh, they're both Ireland and Sweden 48% chance of a medal. So when we talk about Ireland and the history makers and the record breakers going for their first medal, it's at 48%. It's nearly a coin flip. It's still a little bit odds against, actually. So anyway, that's where Sweden are now. But I like them. King Edward just looks bang on where he should be. Zucchero looks fine. Catch Me Not, I think, will be fine. Germany, US, I think Great Britain. But like, it's such a risk to do. I don't want to.
Sam.
Huh?
There's only 3 spots on a podium.
I know
We're only allowed to do 3
the next
calls.
2 are Belgium and Netherlands, and they both. But I'll stay against Netherlands. I still, it comes down to a weak link in the team as well. I love what Gilles Thomas is doing. I thought Callum Dewes had to work really hard today. I really thought they were scrapping and working hard today, and maybe and it looked more of a physical effort than say Cian O'Connor had to work today.
But like everything's easy for Hermitage. Don't compare Callum to Hermitage.
No, I was comparing Callum to everyone else. It just looked. Jerome was. It just looked a big. I think that could have taken a good bit out of him as well at his age and things like that. Maybe. So I'm still a little bit worried about Belgium. Still a little bit worried about Netherlands. I'm more worried about Ireland than I was. I am. I'm more worried about, because I think what we all put a lot of emphasis on with Ireland was the form. Yeah. And they weren't massive sample sizes. And this sport keeps teaching us that even with you'll see streaks like Leonie J and Electric Blue Pea, but everyone gravitates towards the mean eventually. And the great horses like King Edward will show us that their mean is actually up at 65%. Like that's his career clear rate. James Can, or I think it's 63%. James Can Cruz, 64%. Actually, it's just a fraction.
You're going to give us a podium, Sam.
Okay, team podium. So I'm going to bring Sweden in to replace Switzerland, and I had Germany on there anyway. And it's whether I do the awful thing of taking Ireland off and putting on the US, or whether I just stay loyal and the lads. Do
you want us to come back to? Do you want us to like? No. I honestly don't know what you're doing. Like, do you want to give us?
Sure. It's very hard. I can't wait for you guys.
We know it's hard. Okay, I'll do it.
We can go first.
Do I have to give an order? I've got 3 teams. Germany.
Honestly, why don't we show you how to do it? Because we actually asked you, must be 6 or 7 minutes ago. Go.
Yeah.
Germany, Sweden, Ireland.
Germany, Sweden, Ireland.
And for all the history, I'm going to say Sweden win, Germany second, Ireland get the medal. So Ireland still get their medal. Germany keep this domination on the sport going. That's the most headlines. That's a nightmare for our team because there's so many graphics that need to go out.
I'm heartbroken that you said that, because that was my exact podium. I was going to put Germany on top. Germany. I'm going to do Germany, Belgium, Ireland.
I think you're right on the Belgians. I think you're right. The Belgians coming in.
Yeah.
I think there is not too much to worry about with the Irish. I don't think those 2 rails. I mean, I think you're forgiven a lot from other nations, and then
the Swedes. No, it's grand.
Do you want to put them in, the Swedes?
Yeah, but I don't know who to take off.
Okay, well, I can't face another 7-minute explanation.
No, so I won't do it to you. I won't do it to you.
Yeah, but look, your face tells the story. If anyone's just listening to this on podcast, not watching the live stream, it's blinking hard. And you can go on our WhatsApp channel, folks. There's links to it here, and you can have your say on who you think wins the podium. Can you do multiple? Maybe we'll do a new one. Will we do another poll today?
I'll do another one.
Yeah, we'll
Diarm,
do
what's your podium?
I would go away from the Swedes after today. I mean, I always thought they were a bit risky. I like the Irish still. I like the Belgians on what I saw today. I like the Germans, but the team that came through for me, having had a disappointing time in the eventing, a very disappointing time in the dressage, I think the team that I will be backing to put in a huge performance will be the old Stars and Stripes. And I think the US are well set up for a big old story ahead of LA 28.
Yeah.
They all, like, Ballatino look good. Carl and Caracol look good. And Ilix and McLean will get a job done like they did at Aachen under pressure. But I see neither of you had them in their top 3, so I will revel in a US medal tomorrow.
There was over 50 votes in the WhatsApp group, and Ireland coming out on top with 19, Sweden second on 15, Germany third on 13. So the people's top 3 were those 3. Switzerland were relatively low on 8, Great Britain there on 7, US down on 3. Okay. So Great Britain, I would say Great Britain and Germany were, the people got that right, and they ended up being 1 and 2 in this qualifier. Were they 1 and 2 or were they 1 and 3? But they were up there in the qualifier.
We've lost Charlotte. Laptop gone. So it's just us. Let's close it out. We'll get people to follow into WhatsApp. That's where all the action happens. It's a good broadcast channel. Click on the link in our bio and you'll find it. But that's where you'll get all the win chances as they unfold, and all the graphics and all the fun that is the jumping teams, which will happen tomorrow. And Sam, we'll catch up either tomorrow or in the morning before it goes.
Yeah, there may even be a game for people.
Oh yeah, okay. In the WhatsApp group.
So that is the place to go. Eckeraton's WhatsApp channel and live win chances. Like if we ever felt today, it was all about the top 10 chances and the chance of qualifying, and Switzerland going down to 3%, getting back up to 25%, and dropping back again. But all of the drama was playing out in that group. So well done, team. Thank you, folks. Make some noise. Jumping's here. Finals tomorrow. Medals getting handed out. Thanks for joining us. See you again tomorrow. You're going to have to end the stream, mate.
I just wanted to leave you for an extra second.
Because I knew you would do that. I knew you would do that.
Well done. Good finish.
Thank you.